Let me tell you something that's been sitting in the back of my mind for a long time. Like a little pebble in your shoe. You can ignore it for a while, but eventually it starts hurting enough that you have to stop and deal with it. I'm sitting here in Omaha, same office, same quiet routine, same piles of papers, and I keep seeing this pattern again and again, like it's a rule of nature or something. And it bothers me because it doesn't make sense, not at first. Smart people, really smart people, the kind of people who walk into a room and everyone assumes they've got it figured out. The kind of people who can explain complicated things with graphs, formulas, and big words that make your eyes glaze over. People with framed degrees on the wall, MBAs, lawyers, engineers, doctors, people who did everything society told them to do. And yet financially, they're stuck. Some are barely getting by. Some are constantly stressed. Some are earning good money, but still feel like they're running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. And some are drowning in debt so quietly you'd never know unless you open their bank statements. Here's the part that really messes with your head. On the outside, many of them look successful. Nice car, nice clothes, nice house, nice Instagram. But behind that, they're one emergency away from panic. And every time I see it, I ask myself the same question. How did this happen? Because on paper, they were supposed to win. They were told education is the path. Study hard, get a degree, get a good job, and you'll be fine. So why do so many educated people end up trapped financially? Now, before anyone twists my words, let me be clear. I love education. I really do. I'm not anti-school. I'm not anti-degree. I read 5-6 hours a day even now. Always have. Charlie used to do the same. We believed in learning, in sharpening your mind, in expanding your understanding of the world. Knowledge matters. But here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to hear. And the reason this conversation matters, being educated and being financially intelligent are not the same thing. And confusing the two is one of the most expensive mistakes a person can make. You can have a PhD and still make terrible money decisions. You can have a law degree and still be broke. You can be an engineer and still not understand why your bank account never seems to grow. In fact, sometimes the smarter you are, the easier it is to lie to yourself. You can rationalize anything. You can build a whole argument in your head that makes the wrong decision sound brilliant. That's how smart people get into trouble. So today, I want to talk honestly about why educated people stay poor. Not because they're stupid. Far from it. Not because they're lazy. Not because they're bad with money. But because they were taught the wrong things and never taught the right ones. And if you recognize yourself in this, good. That means you're awake. Because awareness is where change starts. All right, let's get into it. The first reason, school trains you to work for money, not to make money work for you. Think about your entire life in school. From the first day, what's the mission? Get good grades, do the homework, pass the test, graduate, get a job. That's the pipeline. And again, having a job isn't bad. Jobs are necessary. Society needs people who work. Nobody is saying everyone should quit and become an entrepreneur tomorrow. But the problem is the education system stops exactly where it should begin. Nobody teaches you what to do after you start earning. Nobody teaches you how money works. Nobody teaches you what an asset is. Nobody teaches you the difference between something that makes you money and something that drains you. So what happens? Educated people graduate and land solid jobs. They start earning $60,000 for $80,000, maybe for $100,000 a year. And they feel that rush of relief. I made it, but they haven't made it. What they've done is secure a better version of the same trap. Because now they're trading time for money. And time, unlike money, is the one thing you can never replace. Here's a question that stings a little, but it's worth asking. If you stopped working tomorrow, how long would your lifestyle survive? A week, a month, 3 months? If the answer isn't forever, then your lifestyle is powered by your labor, not by your wealth. Wealth is when your money works even when you don't. Businesses, shares, real estate, royalties, assets that generate income while you're asleep, while you're on holiday, while you're sick, while you're not there. That's real wealth. And most educated people never cross that bridge. They spend their whole lives earning and never building. They're like someone who fills a bucket with water every day, but the bucket has a hole in it, so it never fills up. And instead of fixing the hole, they just work harder to pour more water in. That's exhausting. And it's exactly why so many educated people feel trapped. Hook, here's the twist nobody tells you. It's possible to earn a high salary and still be broke. And it's possible to earn an average salary and become wealthy. Because wealth is not your income. Wealth is what you keep. The second reason, lifestyle inflation, the invisible trap. This one is painful to watch because it's like watching someone build a golden cage and then lock themselves inside it. Educated people don't just earn more. They feel pressure to look like they earn more. Degrees come with expectations, status, image. You don't just graduate, you upgrade. Better car, bigger house, nicer postcode, professional wardrobe, expensive dinners, fancy holidays. And it sounds harmless because it's not crazy spending, right? It's just living like a successful person. But here's the issue. Your expenses rise to match your income. And then when your income rises again, your expenses rise again. So you're making more, but you never get ahead. I call this the keeping up with your classmates problem. You see someone from your MBA program driving a luxury car and you think, well, I went to the same school, I should be doing just as well. So you stretch, you borrow, you justify. And slowly, invisibly, the trap tightens. Now you have a bigger monthly payment, bigger bills, bigger responsibilities. And suddenly you can't take risks, you can't invest, you can't breathe. You're not free, you're funded. And being funded is not the same as being wealthy. Here's the part that most people miss: wealth is invisible. The car in the driveway tells you nothing. The watch on the wrist tells you nothing. The clothes tell you nothing. Real wealth lives quietly in ownership, in investments and assets compounding year after year. Educated people often confuse looking successful with being successful, and that confusion costs them decades. Hook, if you remember one line, remember this: a lifestyle you have to finance isn't success. It's a burden with good marketing. The third reason, fear of failure, and how school programs it into you. School teaches a dangerous lesson: failure is shameful. Fail a test, you're punished. Fail a class, you're set back. Make a mistake, your confidence takes a hit. So people grow up believing mistakes are dangerous. And financially, that fear becomes paralysis. They're afraid to invest because they might lose money, afraid to start a business because it might fail, afraid to take risks because risk feels like failure. But wealth requires risk, not reckless risk, not gambling, calculated risk. The willingness to try something with uncertainty. I've made mistakes. Plenty. Some of my early decisions were wrong. I bought things I shouldn't have bought. I stayed too long in businesses I should have left earlier. But those mistakes taught me lessons that paid me back massively later. The real danger isn't failing. The real danger is never trying, because the person who never fails often never wins. Hook, let me make it simple. If you're so afraid of losing money that you never invest, you guarantee one outcome. You lose the chance to build wealth at all. The fourth reason, credentials can create arrogance, and arrogance is expensive. Educated people sometimes trust their credentials more than their common sense. They assume, I'm smart means I'm right. They assume I have a degree means I understand money. But money doesn't care about your degree. Money rewards judgment. And here's something funny and tragic that I've seen over and over: the smarter someone is, the more likely they are to overcomplicate things. They build models, they chase strategies, they create complexity. But complexity doesn't always equal intelligence. Sometimes it's just confusion wearing a suit. If you don't understand what you own, you don't own it. It owns you. That's why I've always kept it simple. If I can't explain an investment in plain language, I don't touch it. Educated people sometimes mistake complexity for advanced thinking, and that mistake can be very expensive. The fifth reason they chase income: educated people love salary numbers. 100,000 sounds impressive, but 200,000 sounds even better. But income is fleeting, net worth is permanent. You can earn a high income and still be broke if you spend almost all of it. Meanwhile, someone earning far less but saving and investing consistently can quietly surpass you. Income is what you make. Net worth is what you keep. Wealth doesn't come from earning more. It comes from keeping more and letting it grow. The later trap is deadly here. Educated people often say, once I make more money, then I'll invest, but later never comes. Because when you make more money, your lifestyle grows, your bills grow, your obligations grow, and the habit of building assets never forms. Hook. Here's a brutal question. Are you getting richer or just getting more expensive? The sixth reason, analysis paralysis, waiting for permission to start. This one is common with smart people. They want certainty. They want the perfect plan. They want to know everything before taking the first step. So they read books, take courses, watch videos, research endlessly. And learning is good, but learning without action is procrastination disguised as preparation. You don't need to know everything to begin. You need to know enough. Time is the most powerful force in investing, and every year you wait is a year you can never recover. Starting small early beats starting big late every single time. Most educated people wait for the perfect moment. It never arrives. The seventh reason, the illusion of job security. Degrees are sold like insurance. Get educated and you'll have a stable career. But stability is an illusion. Industries change. Companies fail. Technology replaces roles overnight. Yet educated people often put all their financial hope into one paycheck. And when that paycheck stops, they're exposed. True security doesn't come from a job. It comes from diversified income, from assets that don't depend on an employer's decision. Hook, listen carefully. A job can be a great starting point. But if it's your only plan, you don't have a plan. The eighth reason, paying too much for bad advice. Smart people assume professionals know best. They walk into a financial advisor's office and think, great, I'm in good hands. But the financial industry is full of incentives that don't align with yours: fees, commissions, products designed to pay them, not you. Actively manage funds that underperform, insurance policies you don't need, account churning that generates fees. And the craziest part, educated people often trust these advisors more than their own common sense, because they assume professional means honest. It doesn't always. Sometimes the smartest move is the simplest one: low-cost, long-term, patient investing. The ninth reason, they understand compound interest but don't respect it. Most educated people can explain compound interest, but very few give it time. Compounding looks slow at first. That's why it's so easy to quit. 5 years in, it feels boring. 10 years in, it still feels unimpressive. And then something magical happens after decades. The growth starts growing, and the growth on the growth starts growing. The snowball finally gets huge. But if you stop early, you never see the magic. Most of the best results come late. You can't rush compounding. Hook, here's the line that hits hardest. Most people quit right before it starts working. The 10th reason, they're taught what to think, not how to think. This is the deepest one. From a young age, education trains you to look for correct answers. Follow the framework. Trust authority. Solve the problem someone else defined. That's useful in careers. But financially, it can be deadly, because money doesn't come with a syllabus. You're on your own. There's no teacher guiding you. No textbook that tells you what decision to make. So people default to the crowd. They do what everyone else does. And the crowd is usually wrong. I've seen it again and again. When everyone is excited, that's usually when danger is highest. When everyone is scared, that's often where opportunity hides. But educated people are conditioned to trust consensus. And consensus doesn't build wealth. Independent thinking does. The ability to say, I don't understand this, so I won't buy it. Or, everyone thinks this is a good idea, but the math doesn't make sense. That courage is rare, and it's valuable. Hook, if you want real wealth, you must accept this. To build what most people don't have, you must do what most people won't do. Now, when you look at all these reasons, you'll notice something: they're all connected. Education teaches you how to work inside the system. It doesn't teach you how to build wealth outside of it. And that isn't necessarily school's fault. Schools were never designed to create investors and owners. They were designed to create employees who can function in organizations. But financial freedom requires a different kind of education, one you have to give yourself. And here's the good news: it's never too late. I don't care if you're 30, 40, or 50. I don't care if you've made every mistake I've mentioned. You can start changing the direction today. Not with a dramatic life overhaul, but with small, consistent actions. Start paying yourself first. Take 10% of your income and invest it before lifestyle inflation can swallow it. Stop trying to impress people who don't matter. Drive the older car. Live in the slightly smaller house. Because nobody worth impressing is keeping score. Take smart risks. Start something on the side. Invest even when it feels uncomfortable. You don't need perfect certainty. You need participation. Learn to think independently. Question assumptions. Ask why something is considered normal. Decide what success means to you, not what society says it should look like. And understand this: your degree got you in the door. It will not make you wealthy. Wealth is built through behavior, not credentials. Through habits repeated over long periods of time. I'm 94 years old now. I've watched brilliant people squander their potential. I've watched people with fewer advantages build fortunes quietly. The difference was never IQ. The difference was mindset, patience, discipline, delayed gratification, independent thinking, staying the course when it's boring, ignoring the noise. And the most encouraging part, none of those qualities are inherited. They're learned. You can learn them, starting today. So if you're educated and struggling financially, don't despair. You're not doomed. You just need to unlearn a few things you were taught and learn a few things you weren't. And if you do, years from now, you'll look back and realize something powerful. The moment you stopped trying to look rich and started trying to be wealthy was the moment everything changed. Thank you for listening.